Listen to the following talk.
My father was dying, but my mother didn't inform me. When I read the article, "My sister loves her youngest daughter more because the older one isn't perfect," I saw a part of my own life in it. I'm nearly 60 now, but I still cannot forget the feeling of being discriminated against in my own family. Unlike the child in the article, I was completely healthy. This issue has followed me to this day. As I grew up, I tried to reason out why, but I could never find a satisfactory answer. This unfair treatment has extended even to my children and grandchildren now, who are treated differently from the other grandchildren. Despite being full siblings, for any mistake, big or small, I was always the one who got the harshest scolding, the worst punishments. Throughout my childhood, the constant fear of heavy punishment from my mother, who always claimed to love her children, and the teasing from my siblings sometimes made me feel as if I were going mad. This created in me an eccentric personality. Abrupt, hot-tempered, always ready to act out, even to the point of fighting or using dangerous objects, regardless of the reason. Luckily, I didn't stray off the path or break the law, but I always felt a certain distance from my family. I tried to love my mother, but it felt like my feelings had become numb. My mind was haunted by old images of being punished, how I had to stand still if struck or face double the beating if I tried to run, and how I was yelled at. My mother never knew that whenever she went on business trips, I would pray for her safety. I missed her when she was gone, yet as soon as she returned, the beatings would start again if my siblings told her I'd done something wrong. When I went off to military service, I wasn't given even a simple meal to see me off with family and friends. Back then, going meant you might not come back. When I got married, I had to manage everything on my own, without even a private room to stay in. The day I finally moved out, it was just my wife, our child, and a suitcase. It's been 30 years, and my mother has visited my house only twice, despite my wife and I repeatedly inviting her over, and despite living just 3 kilometers away. Meanwhile, she practically lives at my third brother's house, spending her mornings taking care of his children, cooking and cleaning, and going back home in the evenings. Every holiday or family gathering, the best portions always go to my brother's children. My eldest brother covers her expenses, pays her bills, and even provides for her when he's not around. My other 2 siblings, who are now in their 50s, still have their meals served. And she fusses over whether they're enjoying the food, even waiting on my 20-year-old nephew, giving him money to buy a motorcycle, washing clothes for both father and son. When my father was on his deathbed in the hospital, my mother didn't call to inform me, citing restrictions, despite knowing full well that I had the necessary travel permit. When it came to the family property, they urged me to sign off, and I willingly did. I've always believed that whatever I could contribute to the family, I would, without expecting anything in return. My father would often borrow my younger brother's motorcycle for work, and if he ran out of gas, he'd receive a scolding. So I bought him one right away, even though he had once owned one, which my younger brother sold to buy a new one for himself. In the winter, they would leave my father to bathe in cold tap water while my younger sibling was too busy cooking for her husband's friends. I promptly bought a hot water heater for him. I have no intention of complaining or comparing. I just want to understand why I ended up in this position. Later, I tried to let go of everything, continuing to visit regularly, but there was no real sense of love in my heart. Occasionally, I would stop by, give her a little spending money, buy some food, but deep down, I felt no affection, no connection. I'm sharing this so people understand the lasting harm of hurting a child, how it can follow them for life, perhaps even turn into resentment, creating a different person, a different personality that could eventually harm society.
This content is just an example for learning English. Thank you for watching. How do you feel about this video? Please leave a comment below.